Oh, dude. Weakest male feminist. Weakest male feminist. Look at him. What the f, dude? He's like, why is he standing like that?
If you agree, step forward. Women have more privileges today than men.
Went back and forth on this one, thinking about the difference between more and different. I think women have distinctly different privileges than men have. But with this new feminist movement that is arising, more of the third, fourth wave, we are finding, I think, that women are placed and pedestalized above men in a lot of ways. There's affirmative action hiring and scholarships where women, sometimes even regardless of academic standing or achievement, are prioritized above men. But men also have different privileges that they get to have.
Wait, hold on. Is that the case? Is that what's going on? Because I thought the best way to deal with the disparity in academia was that, like, men need, like, some form of affirmative action because they're getting fucking lapped in academia by women. Because that's the actual truth of the matter. I don't know what the fucking Daily Wire PragerU commentator who's just simply a random woman they found on the street is saying, but it's always like that, by the way. It's always like a fucking talking head from the right versus like some normie off the street that they picked up.
Access. I struggle to say more, but I think I do agree with the feminist movement now. There is more.
If you are born into this life with a vagina, you inherently have 10 times more privilege than a man. You can kind of be a degenerate woman and have a hot body and be a millionaire on OnlyFans. Men don't have that privilege. Now women...
Excuse me. Hello? I'm right here. That's weird that you said that. Also, that's so wrong. Like, no, what does she think that there aren't like sexy guys who make a lot of money? Like, I don't really understand. What the fuck? Does she think that OnlyFans is only women? Is that what? Okay.
Women don't have to like work to get a guy. They're just hot. And then they get guys come to them and spend their resources on them. A man has to prove himself. He has to build a body. He has to make money. He has to build influence. He has to become a protector, a provider. Women just have that naturally by just having a vagina, as I said.
That's why it's frustrating, because the feminist movement has been all about women acting like they don't have rights and acting like they have it pretty hard in the modern day world. I can't think of a single thing I don't have that a guy has. Or
my favorite thing for a lot of anti-feminist women and the way that they like cut this kind of propaganda, one of my favorite parts about this conversation always is like, you know, things are actually really great because I perceive them to be really great. And I like the things that other people would consider to be oppressive. So obviously there's no oppression. Oh, okay, got it. Thanks. It's literally that. It's like, in my personal view, I think it's great that, you know, men are seen as the caretakers and therefore it should stay that way. And therefore women should shut the fuck up. And also, even if they are actually working in the workplace, that's a bad thing. And we should go back to a time when they didn't have that. It's like, the fact that you have this choice means that, you know, feminism has basically succeeded to a certain degree in at least taking away some aspects of the patriarchal constructs that we still exist under. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. And there are obviously also meaningful ways in which, you know, you take advantage of that reality on your day-to-day basis, like the fact that you can go on a fucking show and chirp. You know what I mean? Like, that in and of itself is literally like you're on a show, you're talking, and men are listening to you. You know what I mean? Like, there you go. What the fuck? You're taking advantage of that. You're taking advantage of like fights that women and men before you has fought.
That
you
they
know,
only have.
like,
I would say the one thing I would say is the safety thing. That's the only thing that I would say is that women are disadvantaged from. By nature, women are not as physically strong. I mean, you're physically strong, but as physically strong.
I'll take it.
It's great biceps. And men just are. And if you're walking down a dark alley as a woman, you're going to feel some type of way sometimes,
That's
right?
why we need guns.
Well, there you go.
I'm going to talk a little bit more about like the judicial system. When it comes to, let's say, domestic dispute, if a woman calls the police, they automatically show up, arrest the man. This the Duluth model, I think is how you pronounced it. And that's already in place. It's not necessarily like a right or anything.
Famously, police are very good at dealing with domestic abusers. Yeah, I'm learning so much. Yeah, you're learning made up shit, okay? Police are first of all, police are horrifyingly bad at dealing with domestic abuse, whether it be perpetrated by a man or a woman. Okay, they're like really bad. Sure, I believe that they still end up statistically flubbing it worse when it is a male abuser than a female one. But you know, they're bad across the board.
But it's certainly in all of the police departments, is if feminism is all about equality, why would you automatically arrest a man? When they arrest him, his name is in the newspaper automatically. The fact that a woman can say Jane Doe and she doesn't have to put her name out there, what skin in the game is there?
And there's so many instances of that. I know men personally have had domestic violence within the relationship with children involved, unfortunately. And the woman attacked the man in front of the child, and he's still, I know 2 instances personally, and he's still fighting to get the child back. That's from the Me Too movement. Congratulations. You guys got that.
It kind of invalidates the...
All conservative rhetoric just can be sourced with one incredible sourcing mechanism. It's called "I made it the fuck up" or "a buddy of mine." It's always like the same thing. I know a guy, a buddy of mine, a friend of mine did this. I made it the fuck up.
Women who do come forward and who have faced and sexual assault and all of that, because then it kind of turned into a Twitter hashtag.
That's correct.
Where women were like, oh, you know what, I want to join, like, this seems fun. Like,
for clout.
It's not fun.
I think it's a mixed bag. I don't think the Me Too movement was inherently harmful. It's the Me Too movement when you couple it with something like believe all women. That's when it becomes
and the victimization of women who aren't really victims.
The prompt is, do women have more privileges? We have privileges simply by virtue of being women. We have privileges with affirmative action. We have privileges in family court, and we have privileges as far as being believed and forgiven. It's something that should be acknowledged.
That's correct.
Can I have the disagreeer step forward?
I appreciated the distinction more versus different privileges. You can't just use a broad brush and paint the entire debate and say, all right, well, this is men have more than women, that's it. Like, women that must inherently then have no privileges. That's not how it works. And that's where we start to get into the idea of like intersectionality, where another woman who had a different experience, if it was a trans woman, if it was a woman of color, if it was a woman who was...
But I don't think we're including trans women into feminism.
And I think...
Oh, I'm shocked to find out that the anti-feminist is also anti-trans. That's crazy. That's so shocking. They're not even a TERF, man. They can't be a TERF. They're not even a radfem. They're anti-feminist. They're trans-exclusionary radical anti-feminists. They're TERFs, not even TERFs.
We definitely should.
I don't think we should at
all.
all.
Men are falling behind in society.
I just think, I mean, we have amazing men here today. It's an honor
thank
to
you.
be on this
You
panel
barely
with
know
you, to see this masculine energy. However, I know that men are not able to be men anymore because of the feminists, modern feminist propaganda. I coach men in my practice, and they tell me, like, I don't even know what I can do on a date anymore. Can I ask a woman out? Am I gonna get...
Bro, she's such a pick-me. She has to literally, like I said, suck up to the dudes on the fucking panel.
in trouble for this now? Like, I really like her. I kind of want to put my hand around her waist, but maybe that's gonna, I'm gonna be all over social media, this kind of thing. And I think men don't have the balls anymore to just stand up and be a man, be dangerous, be fierce.
I want to respond to a lot of what you said.
Please.
Does anybody else want?
You make a really interesting point. However, I feel like a lot of the reasons why men can't actively express masculinity in a positive way is because of the patriarchal structures that we have. Part of where I'm coming from with this is I'm trans. So I was born female, now I present as male. I came out socially and medically transitioned at 18.
Okay.
The feminist movement is what helped me feel empowered enough to be who I am and be a man.
And no disrespect to your process, I know it's a very strenuous thing that you go through, but I see a woman still. I feel feminine energy from you.
No, you don't. You literally don't. You don't. You have to lie. This is the funniest part. Okay, dude, listen. When you have someone who's passing, absolutely, the other person literally looks like a fucking clown ass. Social acceptance and passing is not the most important component of being trans, obviously. Let's make that clear. It is pretty fucking funny when you got people who are like very aggressively trying to be transphobic in the face of someone who's like passing, like very, very well. And they go, no, I see a woman actually. No, you don't. You literally don't. You accidentally correctly gendered him. It's very obvious that you do not perceive this person as a woman. You're just saying that to come across as transphobic in the conversation.
That's all right. I totally
so when you
respect
say
that.
you're a man, then it's like, I don't see that.
The way I think about it is more like about individual choice and individual freedom. And for me, that's what feminism is about giving people the choice to act in accordance with however the hell they want to act.
But that's a very dangerous society.
That's not how feminism started.
It doesn't take a man to tell me how to be a man. It doesn't take a woman either. I can define myself as a man how I want to. And it's the same with femininity. I'm not going to tell you how to be. I don't think another woman should tell you how to be a woman either.
So what would you tell kids?
Yeah, like you have a daughter. Do you really want to be guided by the ambiguous, define yourself as however you want to define yourself. And for her mind to be molded and shaped by men who, no disrespect, women who turn themselves into men and then turn them.
Why does she keep saying no disrespect and then say some disrespectful ass shit? Just say, you're saying the disrespectful shit, just why the qualifier? Like you meant disrespect. You know it's disrespectful. You don't have to say no disrespect. Like the fact that you mentioned no disrespect before saying some disrespectful shit means you know that it's disrespectful and you're about to say it. It's such a weird thing.
Themselves back and say there's a lot of dissatisfaction when the root of the problem wasn't the gender, it was everything else.
There's actually
slow down,
very
I
low
feel like
I looked at the
rates of detransitioning, but that's neither here nor there.
That's also a minority of the population.
It feels like you're bundling a lot of ideas, which makes it hard to respond. But
well, because there's so much data to support
can you repeat what's the main question?
Do you want your daughter's mind to be formed and shaped by a society that tells her it's okay to be masculine and to be a man and that she doesn't need a man?
Wait, what? What the fuck? Why would that be a bad thing? That's so stupid. Wait, what? What are you saying? What? Like, I don't understand. What? What the fuck? No, it's totally okay to be masculine. Yes. Does she think that like all masculine cis women are automatically trans or something? Like, what the fuck? This is so confusing. Dude, this gender being a confusing concept oftentimes muddies the waters when you're trying to like cut an argument either way. Because you ultimately get back to like, you know, a gender abolitionist perspective from the right. You know what I mean?
And that it's better off for her to be alone.
Also, there's nothing more hilarious about like, you know, the beacon of gender affirmation. Okay. The beacon. I mean, beacons, if you want to call it. Literally fucking talking about like gender affirming care being a bad thing. Well, other people do it. I don't like it.
And put her career first and not have children.
I think it's more likely than not that she'll probably follow a more conventional path. If my daughter grows up and she wants to dress like a boy, like great. If she, for whatever reason, is experiencing gender dysphoria, like we would navigate that together. But that to me, it doesn't scare me. And I would all the more want to live in a world that...
I feel like that's sad because
Why,
it's
though?
because my son, I encourage him. I say, you are to be, and I really don't care the backlash. You're supposed to be attracted to women. And
Isn't
I tell
that a lot
him,
of pressure?
and I tell no, and I ask him,
But what
who
if
are
he's not?
Because life for transgender individuals, and my son's African American as well, is very freaking hard. I don't know if we can swear. I'm sorry.
You can.
It's very hard. You know this to be.
Dude, oh my God, I love this shit. I fucking love apologizing for saying frickin' while simultaneously saying like an endless amount of like anti-trans shit. Nothing you say is family friendly. Why do you now automatically think that
True.
Asking people.
She said it's hard being black and trans. I wonder why. Yeah, exactly. That is also another really funny, like liberal homophobic argument, old school. For those of you who don't know, back in the day, liberal homophobic people would say, oh, I don't want my son to be gay because the world is going to be really difficult for them. What do you mean? Okay. Like, but you're what? Like, what kind of fucking dumb take is that? It's your job to make it easier. You can't simultaneously be the one making it harder while also be like, oh, that's why I don't want them.
Or putting pressure on your son or putting pressure on my daughter to not...
I just tell them.
Okay, but to not be their true self, if that's truly how they feel,
But
it feels like that would be...
No, they're not their true self.
This, like,
Thank you.
That's this way. It's society has influenced everybody to be like,
so off
you know.
When you say I can identify, I can be whatever I want. If I want to say I'm Beyonce today, I can now just be Beyonce.
But do you actually believe that?
I do. I kind of feel like I don't think you believe it.
Can we talk about the prompts
let's roll back.
The prompts about men falling behind.
Here's the other thing. Men are falling behind. Is it because of feminism, or is there socioeconomic factors that we're not looking at?
Well, how do we
because,
define
well,
falling
no.
behind?
Let's
Yeah,
look,
what do you see as falling behind?
What's falling behind? So people in America, not just men, everybody is getting poor. This has nothing to do with
Well, that's
feminism.
not
Holy
true.
fuck.
No,
That's a
Alleged.
mental state.
No,
There's-
it's not
that's
true.
a
This
mentality.
is economic data. We are
I'm
falling
not getting
behind.
that.
our
Well, you
standard.
can blame your president for that.
Okay,
And
back
the other
to the
thing is,
prompt.
what do you define as masculinity? It can be subjective
Tell
from
us,
culture to culture.
what do you define
I
masculinity
think masculinity is whatever you want it to be. It doesn't.
Yeah. This is a classic male W here, okay? Notice how he's just bouldering through the conversation as females' attempts at cutting in are getting fucking literally slapped away. That's a lifetime of being a man, okay? When you're a man, you constantly fucking stop other people from talking, other men from talking, but certainly other women from talking. So notice how the anti-feminist woman is trying to cut in and he's just like, no, shut up. I'm going to keep going. he just kept talking through it. He's like, yeah, no. Okay, shut the fuck up.
It have to be this objective thing where it's like, oh, you're masculine, you're
How
not.
is
Like,
it- can it-
so it could be different from our society to another society. And actually, in some countries, like men who don't provide for their families or are not the sole
It's like the extremely rare moment where like a lifetime of conditioned misogyny that you're not even comprehending because you take it for granted is working. That is a positive thing.
provider are not seen. And actually, in some countries, like men who don't provide for their families or are not the sole provider are not seen.
But
as
are we
masculine.
talking about other countries, or are we talking about the U.S.?
But even
right
here,
now?
actually, even here, there are people who will say that's demasculating for a man to make less money than his wife.
Young men are abandoning colleges at a rapid
Yeah, it's a
rate.
lot of pressure to be a man.
They're also
Like
far
the-
lonelier than women are right now. And
Yeah,
not
women
so
are the
partners.
least
Hold on,
happy.
can I finish my point? Sorry. I'm like, don't let me lose my train of thought.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are they fucking mansplaining? What's up? Are they cutting you off? You want a voice at the table? Oh no, that's crazy. Having too much fun with this? Of course I'm having fun with this. It's like, it's literally everything that they're advocating for. If these men were just horrible to them right now, they would have to take it because they're like anti-feminist. You know what I mean? Like, that's the whole point. Just because they are wrong does not give you the right to be a misogynist to Hasan. Mansplaining to an anti-feminist is like, I thought that's what they wanted. What the fuck? It's like shaming a cuck. Also, for me personally, and I perhaps all the women in the chat who are watching as well, it's funny. The contradiction, them experiencing the juxtaposition, them experiencing the actual things that they're advocating for in that moment. That's what's funny.
They're abandoning colleges. Women make up, they enroll in college at a 60% rate. Women are earning more than men nowadays, right? So,
What? Women are earning more nowadays than men? That's crazy. Did not know that was the truth. I'm learning so much today.
Yeah, well, no, that is true.
hold on.
We can get to the wage.
It's about enrollment. So are they having other jobs? Yeah, probably.
Sure.
But I'm saying like men are not going to these institutions. Why?
When you're saying lack of enrollment, there's more entrepreneurs in the entrepreneurial space than ever before in history. So I believe a lot of people are opting out of college as we had to pursue their ventures. So that could be part of the reason why the enrollment has declined.
Can I just go back to a point that you said really quick? The systemic structures we are in
Yes.
are patriarchy. That is what has caused men to have this massive stigma around mental health, where we don't feel empowered to reach out. Men tend to not go to therapy. That leads to suicide. That leads to all of these big things. That's not caused by feminism. That was happening well before the feminist
Lizzie
movement
Gobbler, thank you for the
came
5
into these
gifted
spaces.
subs.
There's a lot of psychiatrists, psychologists, and economists, professors, all these people coming out saying that the actual
Okay, Jubilee sourced this one real fucking one-sided. I'm not gonna lie. To be fair, it is hard to find, like, I do think that if you're going to be like a woman who's an anti-feminist, you're going to be a bimbo. Like, you're going to come across like a bimbo. You know what I mean? No matter what. It's like a difficult space to find like a lot of out and about, you know, intelligent people to very directly advocate against your best interest. So that's why she's, you know,
economists, professors,
that's why she's saying stuff like that.
all these people coming out saying that the actual psychology department is feminized. I know.
I'm processing what you're saying.
The psychology
It's weird, but
department?
the way that everything's processed
Between 1995 and 2015, the number of women within the academic psychology workforce more than doubled, an increase in 126%, and their representation increased from 37 to 53%. Yeah, they doubled, and then finally were able to fucking reach 53%.
Is for women. So women and men process information differently. Men are like this in their brain. Women are, it's all over. And like, what the hell does that mean?
Well, it's left brain, right brain.
When you process, like, men need to solve the problem before they can process the emotion.
Women are emotional.
React on emotion.
Yeah, that's it.
But so women have a tendency, not a tendency, they do better with talk therapy. That doesn't always work for men. Men do better when they are kind of working with a coach or somebody that's going to be like, this is what you have to do, and then come back
massive
see how
action
you
steps.
did.
There's a system. One person is at the top of that system, and he has supporting members underneath. And that's what patriarchy was, quote, patriarchy was designed. It's a system of one person taking a leadership position, and they make decisions for the greater good, utilitarianism of all, meaning the family unit.
That's not really what patriarchy
is. She just, it's not even related to patriarchy. She just like argued for an authoritarian construct. Like she was like, hey guys, unrelated, but I love monarchies, for example, and I think we should have a monarchy. Like I'm in it for the hierarchy aspect of the things that I'm not even a part of. You know what I mean? I just like, what? How is this related to what we're talking about? It doesn't matter. I just think it's sick when someone is leading a whole bunch of other people who are leading a whole bunch of other people, and no one gets to have a say in that process. I think that's the cool way to do it.
And actually, that's
it
that's
is. I looked up the definition.
That's actually a very.
I literally looked it up yesterday.
I feel.
No, you're good.
I really need the male feminists also to respond, because I feel like they've spoken 20%. Once they're done with their thought, feel free to interrupt, but let them finish.
Pussies, dude. Yeah, that's right. Fucking beta male feminists, dude. Letting the women speak. Stop letting them chirp, dog. Butt in right now. This is what happens. They have internalized misandry. Okay, that's. Or wait, no. Would that work that way? Is that how that? Yeah, they are. They do. They have internalized misandry. I don't fucking know. Yeah, I think you could say that as a man. Like when women have internalized misogyny, and then men would have internalized misandry. Exactly.
Finish the sentence.
Okay, I want to talk. I'm gonna talk. I mean, I do think men are falling behind.
Be more assertive, dog.
I feel like the world is just changing in a way where men don't have like a natural place to fit in, or it's not as intuitive as it used to be. And I think men are alone. I heard you throw out the word loneliness, and that does feel true. I just don't think that feminism did that. I just think like the world is changing.
Female sex workers should be more respected.
I don't know a ton about this topic, but I do think I subscribe to the idea that legitimizing sex work reduces the safety risks associated with that profession. It's a very old profession. It's been around for a while.
Whoa, what the fuck? She's like a pro sex worker, anti-feminist? Like that's so weird. I don't even she's not a swerve. She's not a swerve. She's a sex work inclusionary anti-feminist. She's a swaff. Bro, God, I love American politics, man. It's just all people with like incredibly contradictory opinions.
It's going to continue to be around.
I don't, I think it's also, there's tools out there like OnlyFans that I think has put a lot of the power in the hands of the creators.
Also, the horny sex professor with the awoogas thinking that female sex workers should not be respected. Like, what's up? You want yourself to be the only respected sex worker? No one else? Like, I don't get it.
A lot of people don't realize, like, nobody like actively chooses to be in sex work. You're usually going to sex work because of social situations, and if it's a black market, most people ask why I joined the military. It's like, because I was poor. Like, there was no other fucking reason. And I'm not saying it would get rid of exploitation, but if women have legal protections, like if I was a prostitute and I could go up to a cop and say, hey, I got beat up and my money stolen, not being worried about being arrested, like I would be more likely to report crimes and get the people who are causing problems.
Yeah, and then for the people who just want to do it and...
Damn, this guy's awesome, dude. I mean, the military stuff I don't fully agree with, but you guys are great.
Want to just like own their sexuality, own their body, and use it as a commodity, a way to make money. They should be able to do that in a way that is safe, in a way that they own all of the videos, all of the content that they make, and in a way that is equitable for them.
When it comes to respect, there's two definitions Respect either can mean like politeness, like you wouldn't shut the door on somebody that's like walking behind you, like be respectful. The other respect is usually if you do something that in the workplace that garners approval, you've completed a goal. So when we talk about respect when it comes to sex workers, should we be polite to them? Probably. That would be a human thing to do. I don't have to, but yeah, I prefer OnlyFans over the traditional porn industry.
Yeah, because you own it.
When we're encouraging women to go out of their way to sell their bodies on the internet because that's a means to an end, we're not doing that the right way.
I fucking hate this argument so much. People make it seem like it only operates under tremendous coercion. First of all, capitalism is the coercion, okay? You're upset about capitalism, which you're not. You love capitalism, I'm sure. But like they only hyper focus on sex work in general to say like it's so coercive. They're doing it for money. It's like, bro, you sell your body to the fucking American military, which is significantly worse on your body. Significantly worse on your body and mind and soul, okay? You sell your body to McDonald's. Sell your body to Amazon. You work at a fucking distribution facility. The idea that like sex work, especially done by consenting adults, is like worse than any of these other jobs is so fucking stupid.
Right way, and I don't think the feminist movement should be moving in the direction of normalizing sex work when we should be encouraging women to value themselves, value their body, value their talent, and take that elsewhere.
There's a lot of things in place though for women. Like, yeah, there's obviously a need if they're in maybe a lower economic class or something, but at the end of the day, that's more of like a morality topic, you know? And so you can't really force that on everybody. I agree with you.
Right. The other thing would be is that women are not happy when they're doing this. It's not empowering as a woman. You can go on Twitter and see these women who are in their 30s with an OnlyFans link in their bio, but with no kids, no husband, no specific thing to actually care about. It's all about material.
That's crazy. It's so wild that like these women don't care about the things you care about. So what? We should just like not respect them? We should not allow them to exist? Like what the fuck are you saying? It's so dumb.
Materialistic things. These are the same women that you're seeing tweeting about how sad they are. They're tweeting about
though.
It's not generalized. It's the majority of those women. They are on antidepressants.
I'd like to speak because I've actually been in the industry. You hit the nail. That's okay. You hit the nail on the head. I came from a very poor socioeconomic background. I was a product of the state. And so I speak from experience when I say it's not empowering, it's not glorifying, it's not owning your body. None of that stuff is true. No little girl when they're 4 or 5 says, I want to grow up and be a hooker. OnlyFans is the biggest pimp of them all. They're still taking 20% and your content still gets leaked a lot.
I agree. I'm not in favor of any kind of exploitation. I also am uncomfortable by the idea of like women I know if they were in that industry, like I admit, like it makes me feel uncomfortable. My gut instinct.
So you have a daughter. I'm going to be having a daughter in 4 months.
Let's just go back to the daughter.
Well, I mean, it's a good question because you're raising a human being for the future of society that we're going to all shape. How does it make you feel to raise a daughter in a world where you can either preserve, you can either preserve her innocence, or you can step away and let her do the OnlyFans thing?
How about respect femininity?
It's a great question, and
the entire point of this conversation is nullified when you ask them, did your daughter say she wants to grow up and work at McDonald's? Like, it's such a stupid fucking take. There are an infinite amount of fucking jobs. The overwhelming majority of people don't fucking get the dream job that they want. That is not common. It's not a thing. Maybe you fucking weirdos have actually been able to achieve that because you're a podcaster, a shitty one, but still, you know, that's probably what you wanted to do and now you're doing it. The idea that you're not even like anti-capitalist while simultaneously singling out one fucking aspect of work is so frustrating to me. But even if you were to say that like, well, this is something that you're doing even though you don't want to do it, it completely eliminates the autonomy that women have. Not surprising that the anti-feminists are coming up with this argument because they're anti-feminists. Half of their fucking advocacy revolves around eradicating female autonomy. But it's like, people do it. People want to do it. People enjoy doing it. Just because you don't comprehend that doesn't change that reality. You know what I mean?
There's two
Here's the 3-minute ad break now
that I feel like I can hold at the same time. One is I would be very uncomfortable if any female relative was, or person that I loved, was exploring that profession. Like I would have
You can't even say it.
I'm trying to be as
But as
like
father
professional as I can.
Yeah, as a
it
father
shows that you
specifically.
fail.
No. I don't think that I'd fail. I would have complex feelings to navigate.
Yeah.
On a higher level, I don't think that there's anything inherently wrong with that profession, and I respect people who do it in a way that's fulfilling to them and that brings them happiness.
Men need to be masculine to keep their families safe.
Of course he's gonna step forward. Look at him.
Yo, she is too horny. She is way too horny, man.
I think there's a reason why people love Andrew Tate. And whatever you think about him in regards to what he's being accused of, which he has not been proven, but that's neither here nor there, men gravitated toward that. Why? Because he spoke to men in a sense of being a man, being a protector, and you have to be in charge of all your faculties and think more critically. So those aspects of masculinity appealed to men because men want to innately protect. If I go on a date and you take me out on a date and he's like, no, I wouldn't. But that's
Wait, did she just promote Andrew Tate? Is anything she's saying consistent at all? She's literally anti-sex work, but simultaneously pro a guy who's currently under investigation for sex trafficking. Stockholm syndrome would imply something different than you think. She's not. She's a grifter. It's not Stockholm syndrome. She's grifting. The inconsistency there is deliberate. It is by design. It's because she's trying to appeal to conservative values. And when you want to do all of the conservative values, when you want to push for all the conservative values, you're going to inevitably end up with inherently contradictory ideas.
It's okay. And you take me to a dinner and you don't sit facing the door. I'm never going out on another date with you. It's not like we're helpless, like, oh, I can't do anything. But having a man stand by you, protect you and your family and your children, masculinity is very important.
There are situations, like, for example, like, I'm like 230 pounds, my girlfriend's like 110, 5'2". Like, there's no way if somebody breaks in the house that she's gonna fight them off, unless she has a gun on her or something. But so in that situation, I would fill that masculine role. But like, anybody can be strong. Anybody, like, in a situation where I'm not there, I would hope if we had kids, she could protect them and defend them like the best she could. Where I get the issue with like, oh, men need to be masculine. It's like, oh, men need to always go work and bring the money and all this stuff. Because my girlfriend, she's highly educated. She actually makes way more money than I do, like way more. I work as a personal trainer. I don't make as much as she does.
The idea that like, dude, he seems kind of sad. The idea that like men are riding into combat in this like hypothetical situation where someone is like doing a home invasion is so funny because like, dog, we live in a society, okay? Like we literally live in cities for that fucking reason, so that like that doesn't happen. You greatly reduce being absolutely owned by the elements that you no longer need to brave by like living in a house, you know what I mean? Or having like some form of shelter. It's always like, what about when shit hits the fan? I know how to handle myself in tricky situations, but it is so wild to me, at least, that like that's what we're operating on. It's like men have to fucking, you know, destroy their opponents. Like dog, when push comes to shove or when shit hits the fan, okay, in a lot of instances, you're just like fucked. You know what I mean? It's awful.
Right now, a lot of our young men are misguided, and a lot of them are making bad decisions, and it's because like a lot of these young men get this testosterone boost, their brains aren't fully developed, and they like the vast majority of crimes are committed by 16 to 23-year-olds.
The reason I walk forward is about exactly what you just said. Men have these feelings and this aggression often deep inside them, and it's about using that aggression or those feelings that you have to protect rather than to inflict.
I guess I'm just not entirely sure what masculinity in general has to do with keeping people safe.
Could I quickly respond? And that
Yeah.
I just think it's that men have that natural propensity towards it. If I think of roles in society that are protectors, we could say police officers, anybody who's going to take on that role of physical aggression in order to stop a bad situation from happening, tend to take those roles. And if you just look at the demographics of those roles in particular, men choose to take that on and they persevere and drive for it.
Let's say I get married to a guy and he wants to be a stay-at-home dad. That's fine. I enjoy working. So I actually wouldn't be totally opposed to me grabbing the gun if an intruder came in and being the one to kill somebody if my husband's normally like the one protecting the kids, I guess. I don't think it necessarily matters who's protecting the family, just somebody must.
I like what you said about intuition though. Like my wife has a lot of intuition. I think she's better than me at like helping us avoid unsafe situations.
But to physically combat a stranger that's at your door with a gun, a mask on, and is breaking in.
Yeah, it's convenient to have someone who's more like him than.
But would you send your wife who's intuitive to use her intuitive power?
This argument is so stupid. This is literally the same argument that XUC had with Andrew Tate, no? Hey, how about this in this hypothetical situation that I made up in my fucking mind? Like, what would you do then? How would you react then in my made up hypothetical scenario? Okay, well, in my hypothetical scenario, my significant other is Ronda Rousey. There you go. Or, you know, she's a trained fucking marksman, okay? She's like one of those World War II era Russian female snipers, okay? Yeah, what if they're bears? What if we're being attacked by bears? Who defends us then? You know what I mean? It's like while we're in the business of made up scenarios, just raise the stakes more. You know what I mean?
Powers to handle that, to protect, or would you use your masculine? My daughter's protected. I'm going down there.
If we get attacked, I'm going to do everything I can to protect my family. That's not men having to be masculine. I just think that's people protecting those they love. I think when women are put in situations where they have to protect their families, they can exert tremendous force. Obviously, they're more vulnerable because they're not typically like as strong on average.
I'm full of testosterone, right?
But I just don't. I don't think like this is something men have to do. I think you got to be careful about putting pressure on men to embody some sort of like macho, tough, violent.
I don't think it's macho.
I've had men in my life who like embody that tough role, and it like creates uncomfortable environments. It sometimes invites aggression, danger to the situation. It's a certain role playing that I think men actually.
He's not even wrong, but like it is hard to fucking overcome the social conditioning that you learn from the systems that we live inside of, because he's right. But even then I'm thinking like, oh man, he's so soy. You know what I mean? Like he's right. He literally is correct. He is so right. But like simultaneously, I'm just like, oh, I should do.
It's beneficial to grow out of.
Why do you think it's a role though? What if that's just who they are?
It's innately in them.
Well, then I think they should go to therapy and work on it, or like play a sport and get out that aggression.
So I understand.
Aggression isn't bad.
I always hear from other male feminists like, oh, that guy's trying to be a macho guy. Why?
Okay, well, so here's the thing. I think sometimes it's not genuine. He's playing a character. Actually, I'm usually the one to de-escalate situations because of how I look and how I am presented. So I de-escalate. And actually, I always tell people I always encourage young men, avoid the fight.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it, stay away. But if you have to, obviously do what you have to do, like survive. And I would say to women or anything, but don't start and actually try to deter, get away, because violence should be always the last resort. Violence only brings more violence.
The differences between men and women should be celebrated.
I'm talking about poles of energy. We have polarity in everything in the universe, from the battery. You can't put two negatives into a battery and it work. You can't put two positives, has to go flop. So there's poles day and night, everything, yin yang, it's energy, and we are energy.
I don't think everything's polar though.
It is though.
Why apply one lens to the whole universe?
Well, you just stepped forward with the prompt that said that masculine men and women's differences should be celebrated.
I want to celebrate the difference between men and women, but I feel like you have this tendency to apply sometimes like these quantum or
because we live in a quantum universe of masculine and feminine energy.
But you guys do the same thing too, though.
I think he's just saying to celebrate differences doesn't mean we exist on two opposite poles,
I'm saying that.
Yeah,
so
like,
I'm saying that.
There's things exist in nature that are triangles or triads. Like not everything's yin and yang. You know.
But it kind of is. I actually believe that the masculine energy is is elevated in a sense that they have more responsibility as protector, provider, and so for women, we like lean to them and we look up to them as the leader. So not to say that they're not equal, but there's a little bit more responsibility in the masculine field. And without those outlines of structure, then we have chaos and we don't have a society. We have no more children because women aren't having children anymore.
I don't think I fear chaos as much as you. You threw in a little nugget. I have to take it. You do see women as not.
I don't see them as the same level as men.
I just
You're
wouldn't.
right.
I would encourage you, like from a loving place, to just maybe challenge that. Like,
I
how
challenge all the
how might your experience
I
change
think
if
women,
you saw yourself?
I think women are.
Bro, how do you have this conversation with a woman who's like, yeah, I think women are lesser than men? You know what I mean? Like, how do you even have this conversation? Like, well, why am I even having this conversation with you then? You clearly don't believe that. If you believe that, like, your position is lesser, then, like, why am I listening to you? You know, I, as a man, know better. And what I'm saying is that, no, we have equal rights. How about that? You're a woman. You know less. You believe that you know less than me. So there you go. It's like radically misogynistic feminism, which is this perfect solution to anti-feminist women. You know what I mean?
Are 4 quarters, a guy is $1. I think they're equal, and they're just not the same.
Yeah, I think that the prompt and what I really took to is that it's so important for you guys to celebrate your femininity and celebrate what it means to be a woman for you, and we will joyfully celebrate that with you, right? And likewise to us. However we want to express our masculinity, that should be celebrated, right?
And, and whichever way you had to do it, and like, you know, like I said, I don't think it's as rigid as like we want society, well, like some people want us to think it is, but it should be celebrated because there are innate differences that are like just biological, and there's going to be those differences, and you know, there shouldn't be anything frowning upon it, like, you know, women being like more softer or emotional, it shouldn't be something frowned upon, but if a man chooses to be that, that shouldn't be like, that's feminine, that's not man.
Can they disagree a step forward?
Men are more enslaved than ever before.
This is a tough one, huh?
Shit.
I agree with most of what everyone said. It's just the should. I agree that the differences between men and women can be celebrated, and I celebrate it. I think most people do to some extent. Do as you please. Yeah.
Thank you guys. You guys were all amazing.
Thank you.
Very good sports.
Yeah, I wish we could do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like, oh man, that was fucking painful. I'm not gonna lie. I can't believe I did that.